Close your eyes, if you wish, and let the world around you soften. Imagine yourself in a quiet place, far from the clamor of today, where the air is cool and carries the faint scent of wood smoke and earth. Tonight, we embark on a gentle journey through the shadowed corners of the medieval world, a time of flickering torches, stone-walled cities, and lives shaped by both ambition and survival. Our tale centers on the elusive figure of the medieval assassin, a life cloaked in secrecy and bound by the constant rhythm of danger and duty. This is not a story of thrill or chase, but one of quiet reflection, weaving through the hardships, the whispers, and the fleeting moments of humanity in a world so unlike our own. Settle in, breathe deeply, and let the rhythm of their lives carry you into the past. Picture yourself in a bustling medieval city, perhaps Florence or Paris in the 14th century. The cobblestone streets are uneven beneath your feet, smoothed by centuries of footsteps, yet slick with the damp of morning dew. The air is thick with the scent of fresh baked bread from a nearby oven, mingling with the sharper temps of tanneries and the faint musk of livestock. Around you, the rhythm of life hums steadily. Merchants call out their wares, their voices rising and falling like a distant melody, while cartwheels creak and children dart through the crowds, their laughter a fleeting brightness against the gray stone walls. Now, imagine yourself as one who moves unseen within this tapestry, an assassin, a shadow among the crowd. Your life is not one of grand gestures or public acclaim, but of careful steps and whispered plans. Each morning, you wake not in a grand hall, but in a modest room, perhaps above a tavern or tucked within the maze of a city's poorer quarters. The straw mattress beneath you is thin, prickling through the rough wool blanket, and the air carries the chill of dawn. You rise quietly, your movements deliberate, for every action must be measured. A single misstep could unravel everything. Your day begins with the mundane, for even an assassin must blend into the rhythm of ordinary life. You pull on a tunic of coarse linen, its fibers worn soft by use, and a cloak dyed in muted browns or grays to avoid notice. Your tools, small knives, a coil of rope, perhaps a vial of something more sinister, hidden carefully, sewn into the lining of your cloak or strapped beneath your clothes. These are not the gleaming weapons of knights, but practical, unassuming instruments, each chosen for its silence and precision. As you step into the street, you join the flow of the city, You pass bakers kneading dough, their hands dusted with flour, and blacksmiths whose hammers ring against anvils, sending sparks into the dim light. You pause at a market stall, haggling over a loaf of bread or a wedge of cheese, not because you hunger, but because to do otherwise would draw eyes. Every interaction is a performance, a way to cloak yourself in the ordinary. You nod to a neighbor, exchange a few words about the weather, and move on, your face forgettable, your presence unremarkable. Yet, beneath this facade, your mind is always working. You note the routines of those around you, the guard who lingers too long at the tavern, the noble who takes the same route each evening, the merchant who leaves his shutters unlatched. These details are your currency, gathered patiently over days or weeks. You memorize the creak of a certain door, the shadow cast by a tower at dusk, the rhythm of footsteps on a quiet street. To be an assassin is to live in the spaces others overlook, to see the world as a map of opportunities and risks. Life is not without its hardships, though they are rarely spoken of. The constant need for vigilance weighs heavily. You cannot afford to trust easily, for betrayal is as common as coin. A friend might sell your name for a handful of silver. A lover might whisper secrets in the wrong ear. You eat sparingly, not only because coin is scarce, but because a full stomach slows your reflexes. Sleep, too, is a luxury, often interrupted by the need to move under cover of night or to flee a city when a plan goes awry. There are moments of beauty, fleeting though they are. On a quiet evening, you might pause on a rooftop, the city sprawling below you like a tapestry woven with torchlight. The air is cool, scented with pine from the nearby hills, and for a moment, You are simply a part of the world, not apart from it. But such moments are brief. The life of an assassin is one of constant motion, of plans within plans, of a heart that must remain steady even as it races. The dangers are ever present, though they come not only from blades or guards. Disease stalks the cities, carried on the breath of crowded markets or in the water of stagnant wells. A simple cut could fester, a fever could claim you before your next task is complete. And always, there is the shadow of failure, not just the failure of a mission, but the failure to remain unseen. A single glance from the wrong person, a moment of carelessness, and your life could be forfeit. Yet, within this life, there is a strange rhythm, a cadence to the days that becomes almost comforting in its predictability. You move through the world as both observer and actor, a part of the city, yet always apart. You are the one who watches, who waits, who acts when the moment is right. And as you slip through the streets, unnoticed, you carry the weight of secrets that could topple kingdoms or simply end a single life. As the city fades into the soft hum of evening with torches casting their golden glow across the cobblestones, let us step back from the rhythm of your daily life as an assassin and turn our gaze to a figure. A shadow looms large over the medieval world. Imagine yourself in the year 1377, in the heart of Florence, a city pulsing with ambition, art, and treachery. Here we meet a man whose name is whispered in both fear and fascination. Giovanni de Medici, the founder of the Medici dynasty, whose rise to power was as calculated as any assassin's strike, yet whose life was shaped by the same precarious world you navigate. Giovanni was not born to greatness. Picture him as a young man, standing in a modest merchant shop, the air heavy with the scent of wool and spices. His family was respectable, but not noble, their wealth built on trade rather than titles. The Florence of his time was a city of factions, where powerful families vied for control, and the streets were as likely to see a dagger as flash as a merchant as handshake. Giovanni's life began in this crucible, where survival demanded cunning, as sharp as any blade you might carry. His ambition was not loud or boastful, but quiet, like the steps of an assassin moving through a darkened alley. He began as a banker, handling coin with the same precision you might use to measure a dose of poison. His ledgers were his weapons, his alliances, his armor. He lent money to merchants, nobles, and even popes, each transaction weaving a web of influence that stretched across Europe. Imagine him at his desk, the flicker of candlelight catching the ink on his quill as he records a loan to a struggling lord. Each stroke of the pen was a step toward power, each debt a thread that bound another to his will. But Giovanni's path was not without peril. The medieval world was unkind to those who rose too quickly. Rival families, like the Albizzi, watched him with eyes as keen as yours when you study a mark. Kay saw his growing wealth, his quiet deals with the church, and they whispered a betrayal. In 1378, the Ciompi revolt shook Florence, as wool workers rose against the elite, their shouts echoing through the streets like a storm. Giovanni navigated this chaos with care, aligning himself with the powerful while never fully stepping into the light. He offered loans to calm the unrest, but never took sides so openly as to make enemies he could not outmaneuver. Strategies were not unlike your own. He moved through Florence's political landscape as you move through its shadows, always aware of the risks. A wrong word at a banquet, a misjudged alliance, and his family's fortunes could crumble. He cultivated loyalty, not with grand gestures, but with small, deliberate axe gifts of coin to a struggling ally. A marriage arranged to bind two families, a quiet word in the ear of a bishop. His power grew not through force, but through patience, a quality you, too, know well. Yet, Giovanni's life was not without its darker moments. The medieval world was a place of sudden violence and betrayal, and even a man of his stature was not immune. In 1360, As a younger man, he narrowly escaped an attempt on his life. A reminder that wealth and influence drew daggers as surely as obscurity did. The incident is shrouded in mystery. Some say it was a rival merchant, others a disgruntled debtor, but it left Giovanni wary, his trust in others as thin as the edge of your blade. He began to employ men like you, shadows, to guard his own shadow, to ensure his plans were not undone by a knife in the dark. His legacy, though, was not one of fear, but of creation. Giovanni laid the foundation for the Medici family, whose patronage would later birth the Renaissance. He funded churches, commissioned art, and built alliances that would outlast his lifetime. Yet, in his day, he was simply a man of his time, navigating a world where every step was a gamble. His life was a tapestry of careful choices, each thread pulled tight to create something enduring. As we linger on Giovanni's story, imagine yourself watching him from a distance, perhaps from a crowded marketplace or the edge of a grand piazza. You see a man who, like you, lives in a world of constant calculation, where trust is scarce and every action carries weight. His story is not yours, but it echoes the same rhythm of survival, of moving through a world that is both beautiful and unforgiving. Let us now shift our gaze, as gently as the turning of a page, to another facet of this medieval world. The life of an assassin is not only shaped by the men like Giovanni who commission your work, but by the mysteries that linger in the shadows of their city's secrets, buried in stone and time. As the evening deepens over Florence, imagine yourself slipping away from the bustling piazzas, where the clink of coins and the murmur of merchants fade into silence. You move through narrower streets, where the stone walls seem to lean inward, bare surfaces worn smooth by centuries of passing hands. The air grows cooler, tinged with the damp scent of moss and ancient earth. Tonight, your path leads you to a place few dare to linger, an abandoned crypt beneath a crumbling church. Its entrance, half hidden by ivy and shadow. This is a place of mystery, where the medieval world guards its secrets, and where the life of an assassin brushes against the echoes of the past. In the 14th century, cities like Florence were built upon layers of history, each era leaving its mark beneath the streets. Crypts, catacombs, and forgotten chambers were not uncommon, often discovered by chance during the expansion of a city or the rebuilding of a church. Imagine yourself descending a narrow staircase, the air thick with the smell of damp stone and time. Your torch casts flickering light on walls, etched with faded symbols, crosses, spirals, and names long forgotten. These underground places were not just tombs, but repositories of secrets, places where the powerful hid their treasures, their sins, or even their enemies. One such mystery lies in the crypt of Santa Reparata, the ancient church beneath Florence's grand cathedral. In the medieval world, this crypt was already old, its origins tied to the city's early Christian roots. By your time, it was a place of whispered tale stories of hidden relics, forbidden texts, or even the remains of those who crossed the wrong family. As an assassin, you might have been sent to such a place, not to kill, but to retrieve something: a sealed letter, a stolen artifact, or proof of a betrayal. The task is as dangerous as any assassination, for the crypt's passages are labyrinthine, and the air carries the weight of centuries. Picture yourself moving carefully, your footsteps muffled against the uneven stone floor. The walls are cool to the touch, their surfaces slick with moisture. You hear the faint drip of water somewhere in the darkness, a steady rhythm that echoes the beat of your own heart. The crypt is not empty of life rats skitter in the shadows, and the air hums with the faint stir of drafts that seem to carry whispers. You know the stories, that these places were used by secret societies, by alchemists hiding their work, or by families like the Medici to conceal their darker dealings. Some say the crypts held the bodies of those who vanished without a trace, their lives snuffed out by hands like yours. The mystery deepens as you find a small chamber, its walls lined with alcoves. Each alcove holds a stone sarcophagus, their lids carved with figures in repose, their faces worn by time. One catches your eye, a sarcophagus sealed with a heavy iron chain, its surface marked with a symbol you cannot quite place. The air here feels heavier, as if the stone itself holds its breath. You have heard tales of such places, where the dead were not always laid to rest peacefully, where traps or curses were set to guard what lay within. As an assassin, you are no stranger to danger, but this is a different kind of threat, one that speaks not of steel, but of secrets too heavy to unearth. Archaeological discoveries in later centuries would confirm some of these tales. Beneath Florence, archaeologists have found chambers filled with artifacts, coins, jewelry, and scrolls that hint at the hidden lives of the city's elite. Some speculate that these crypts were used to store evidence of political plots or forbidden knowledge, guarded by those who knew the cost of betrayal. Others believe they were places of ritual, where secret oaths were sworn in the flickering light of torches. As an assassin, you might have been one of the few trusted to enter such a place. Your silence is valuable as your skill. Yet, the crypt is not just a place of mystery, but a reminder of the fragility of the world you inhabit. The stones beneath your feet have outlasted empires, yet they crumble under the weight of time. The lives you end, the secrets you carry, are but fleeting moments in this vast tapestry. You pause, your torch casting long shadows across the chamber, and for a moment, you feel the weight of history pressing against you. It is a quiet burden, one that you carry as you turn back toward the surface, leaving the crypt secrets undisturbed. As you emerge into the night air, the city feels different, its lights brighter, its sounds sharper. The mystery of the crypt lingers in your mind, a reminder that even in a world of constant danger, there are depths yet unexplored. Let us now shift our gaze, as softly as the closing of a door, to the society that shapes your life, the stark contrast between those who wield power and those who live in its shadow. As you step back into the streets of Florence, the night air carries the faint warmth of a city settling into rest. The glow of torches flickers in the distance, and the scent of wood smoke mingles with the earthier notes of the Arno River nearby. Imagine yourself moving silently through the city, your cloak blending with the shadows as you pass from the narrow, alleys of the poor to the grand piazzas of the powerful. The medieval world is a tapestry of contrasts, where the lives of the elite and the common folk are woven together, yet divided by an unyielding chasm. As an assassin, you walk the line between these worlds, your existence shaped by their differences and their uneasy interdependence. Picture the grand palaces of the elite, their stone facades rising like fortresses above the city. The Medici, the Albizzi, and other great families live in halls adorned with tapestries, their floors polished to a sheen that reflects the light of chandeliers. The air within is scented with wax and lavender, and the tables groan under the weight of feast roasted meats, spiced wines, and fruits brought from distant lands. Servants move silently, their eyes lowered, as lords and ladies converse in low tones about trade, politics, or the latest betrayal. For these families, life is a game of power, each move calculated to secure wealth or influence. Their world is one of velvet and gold, but also of constant vigilance. For a rival's ambition or a misplaced trust could bring ruin. Now, shift your gaze to the other side of the city, where the streets grow narrower and the houses lean together as if sharing secrets. Here, the air is thick with the smell of sweat and cooking fires, and the homes are modest, built of wood and wattle, their roofs patched against the rain. The common folk artisans, laborers, and small merchants live in a rhythm of toil. A baker rises before dawn to knead dough, his hands calloused from years at the oven. A weaver bends over her loom, the clack of wood, a steady beat in the dim light of a single candle. Their meals are simple barley porridge, coarse bread, perhaps a thin stew if the day's earnings allow. Their lives are bound by the constant struggle to survive, to to pay the taxes demanded by the city, to avoid the diseases that sweep through crowded quarters. As an assassin, you belong to neither world, yet move through both. Your clients are often the elite, men like Giovanni de Medici, who seek your skills to eliminate a rival or secure a secret. You might be summoned to a grand hall, slipping through a servant's entrance to meet a cloaked figure in a shadowed chamber. The air is heavy with the scent of ink and sealing wax, and the words are few but precise: a name, a place, a price. Yet, your life is closer to that of the common folk. You live in their quarters, your room as sparse as theirs, your meals as plain. You know the weight of hunger, the chill of a winter night, the fear of a guard's suspicious glance. Your existence depends on blending with the crowd, on being as unremarkable as the cobbler or the fishmonger. The contrast between these worlds shapes your work. The elite hire you to strike at their enemies, but their wealth does not shield them from the consequences. A noble's death sends ripples through the city, tightening the grip of guards and stirring whispers among the poor. The common folk, meanwhile, are not always innocent victims. Some turn to betrayal, selling information about their neighbors for a handful of coins. Others might be your target's merchants who cross the wrong family, or informants who know too much. Their deaths, too, leave marks. Families left to mourn in the shadow of a city that cares little for their loss. The medieval world is not kind to either class. The elite face the constant threat of betrayal or revolt, their power as fragile as it is grand. The Ciompi Revolt of 1378, which shook Florence to its core, was a reminder of the anger simmering among the laborers who rose against the taxes and injustices imposed by the powerful. For the common folk, life is a daily battle against scarcity and disease. Plague stalks the cities, claiming rich and poor alike, though the poor suffer most, their homes too cramped to escape its reach. As an assassin, you see both sides of this divide: the ambition that drives the elite to hire you, and the desperation that makes the poor complicit in your work. Yet, there are moments of connection across this divide. In a crowded market, a noblewoman might pause to buy a ribbon from a stall, her fingers brushing those of the vendor. A shared glance, a brief exchange, and for a moment, the chasm narrows. As an assassin, you witness these fleeting intersections, but you remain apart. Your role, a secret known only to the shadows. Your life is a bridge between these worlds, built on the tension of their differences and the quiet necessity of your work. As we linger in this divided city, let us now turn our gaze, as gently as the fading of twilight, to the culture that binds its people together. Beyond the struggles of class and power, there is a world of tradition, art, and belief that shapes the rhythm of their lives. Good luck, or the way a vendor sprinkles water on our herbs to keep them fresh, murmuring a quiet blessing. These small acts are the heartbeat of Florence's culture, grounding even the most ordinary lives in tradition and meaning. As an assassin, you are not immune to these rhythms. They are the backdrop to your silent work, the pulse that masks your movements. Music, too, weaves through the city's life. In the evenings, you might hear the soft strum of a lute from an open window, or the voices of minstrels singing ballads of love and loss in a tavern's smoky glow. The melodies are simple, their notes carrying the weight of stories passed down through generations. Sometimes the songs tell of nights and battles, but more often they speak of everyday struggles. The farmer who lost his crop to frost, the lover who waits for a ship that never returns. You pause, perhaps, in the shadow of a doorway, letting the music wash over you. It is a fleeting comfort, a reminder of the humanity that persists even in a world of danger. Food is another thread in this cultural tapestry. In the homes of the poor, meals are humble, but steeped in care. Imagine a family gathered around a wooden table, the air warm with the scent of barley soup simmering over a fire. Bread, baked hard to last a week, is softened in the broth, and a handful of dried herbs adds a faint fragrance of rosemary or thyme. In contrast, the tables of the elite are laden with abundant splatters of roasted boar, sweetened with honey and cloves, or delicate pastries, dusted with costly spices from the east. As an assassin, you might slip into a noble's feast, posing as a servant to overhear a whispered plot, but you know the taste of simpler fare, shared in the quiet of a tavern or eaten alone in your sparse room. The culture of Florence is also shaped by its superstitions. The medieval mind is alive with unseen forces, saints who guard, demons who tempt, and omens that guide. A black cat crossing your path might make you pause, not out of fear, but out of habit. For even you are not untouched by the beliefs of your time. In the markets, charms are sold alongside bread, small tokens carved with symbols to ward off evil or bring fortune. You might carry one, not because you believe, but because it is another way to blend into the crowd, to be seen as just another soul navigating the uncertainties of life. Even death, so familiar to you, is wrapped in ritual. Funerals are public affairs with processions that wind through the streets, the mourners' wails rising like a chorus. The church bells toll, their sound heavy with finality. And the scent of myrrh lingers as priests burn incense to guide the soul. As an assassin, you know death more intimately than most, but these rituals remind you of its weight in the lives of others. You might watch from a distance, your task complete, as a city mourns a life you ended, their grief a distant echo of your own detachment. This cultural world, rich with faith, art, and tradition, is the stage on which you play your part. It is a world of beauty and hardship, of shared rituals and silent secrets. As you move through it, you are both a part of it and apart from it, a shadow shaped by the light of others' lives. Let us now turn, as gently as the turning of the seasons, to a final reflection on this life you lead and the world that surrounds you. As the night deepens over Florence, imagine yourself perched on a low rooftop, the city spread before you like a tapestry woven with starlight and shadow. The air is cool now, carrying the faint scent of the river and the distant hum of a city at rest. The bells of Santa Maria del Fiore toll softly, their sound a gentle reminder of time's unceasing rhythm. As an assassin, your life is one of constant motion, of silent steps and hidden purposes. But here, in this quiet moment, let us pause to reflect on the world you inhabit and the life you lead, letting the weight of it settle like dust after a long day. The medieval world, with its beauty and its burdens, is a place of stark contrasts. You have walked its crowded markets, where the scent of fresh bread mingles with the sweat of labor. And you have slipped through the grand halls of the elite, where ambition is as sharp as any blade. Your role as an assassin places you in the shadows of both worlds, a silent thread in the fabric of their lives. You have seen the power of men like Giovanni de Medici, whose careful plans shaped a city, and you have felt the struggles of the common folk. Its days are marked by the constant rhythm of survival. Each life, whether noble or humble, is bound by the same fragile thread you have the power to sever. Consider the crypts you have explored, their damp stones whispering secrets of a time before your own. Those hidden places, with their faded symbols and sealed sarcophagi, are a reminder that even the most carefully guarded truths fade with time. Your own secrets, the names and plans you carry, are no less fleeting. Each task you complete, each life you touch, is a moment that passes into the great current of history, leaving barely a ripple. Yet, in its moment, it is everything: the weight of a single choice, the finality of a silent act. The culture of Florence, with its festivals, its art, and its faith, has woven itself around you, even as you remain apart. The hymns sung at San Giovanni's feast, the brushstrokes of a painter in a dimly lit workshop, the quiet prayers of a merchant before sleep. These are the rhythms that give the city life. You, too, are shaped by them, though you may not always feel it. The charm tucked into your cloak, the pause to listen to a minstrel song, the way you move with the crowd during a procession. These are the ways you blend into the world, a shadow that takes on its colors to remain unseen. Yet, your life is one of solitude, even in a city so full of voices. The constant need for vigilance, the knowledge that trust is a luxury you cannot afford, sets you apart. You carry the weight of your actions, each one a choice that ripples outward, touching lives you may never know. There is no glory in your work, no songs sung of your deeds, but there is a strange honor in its precision, in the skill that lets you move through the world unnoticed. It is a life of balance, of holding the line between survival and purpose, between the darkness of your tasks and the fleeting light of the world around you. Now, as you sit above the city, let your mind drift to the contrast between that world and the one you inhabit now, in this moment of quiet. The medieval assassin's life was one of danger and secrecy, of cold nights and fleeting warmth, of a world where every step was measured. Here, in the present, you rest in comfort, surrounded by the soft hum of modern life. The struggles of the past, the hunger, the disease, the ever-present shadow of betrayal are distant now, their weight softened by time. You are safe, your breath steady, your body at ease. Let the city of Florence fade from your mind, its torches dimming, its streets growing silent. Imagine yourself sinking into the stillness, the rhythm of your breath matching the gentle cadence of the night. The life of the assassin, with all its shadows and secrets, slips away, leaving only the quiet of this moment. You are here, now, in a world that holds you gently, where the past is but a story told to guide you into rest. Close your eyes, if you haven't already, and let the weight of the day dissolve, carrying you into the soft embrace of sleep. As the last echoes of Florence's bells fade into the night, we leave behind the world of the medieval assassin. A life of shadows woven into the vibrant tapestry of a city long past. The streets, the crypts, the feasts, and the silent acts of those who moved unseen, they are all part of a story that has settled into history, its edges softened by time. You have walked through their world, felt the rhythm of their lives, and now you return to your own, where the air is calm and the night is kind. Let the memory of that distant place linger only as a gentle whisper, a tale told to ease you into rest. Sleep now, wrapped in the quiet comfort of the present, and let the past drift away like a leaf on the river.